right, we'll move on to employees. And if I search with the active button marked here, it will show me all my active employees. There is an option to add a new employee. And please notice I'm going to compare this to an existing employee. So on the right side is the new employee form versus on the existing employee in this section. So we do use the multi-factor authentication. So if the box is marked for the employee can sign on here, then the multi-factor authentication information will show here. So again, here on the right, we have our new employee form. If I click on the employee can sign on, you see how the multi-factor information is displayed. I'm going to close the new form on the right side and use only the existing employee here because I want to show you a shortcut on adding a new employee. So this is an existing employee. If I have a new employee that's going to have the same or similar permissions, I can access the existing employee and then click on Copy Permissions. It then opens the new employee form, and because I did copy permissions, the box for employee can sign on is automatically marked, and the multi-factor authentication information is available for us to complete. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and just mention that up at the top is where you will add in the employee's name. So at the top of the form, you will add the employee's first and last name. EverLogic has automatically assigned a reference number. We've already mentioned the employee can sign on button, and then you also have an employee active button. Now I will mention this option here. For some reason this employee is no longer working at your dealership. I would encourage you to remove the check mark here, and this employee will remain in the system in case they were to come back and work with your dealership at some time in the future. I would use this option versus using the delete option at the top, but it's totally up to you. All right, and then down below on the Employee Information tab, this is where you will assign them a specific location. Unless you assign a separate username, an employee can only be assigned to one location at a time. And the employee type, so if they are parts, service, or sales, maybe an accounting or an admin employee. You can also assign them to a specific department, a title, and then indicate who they report to. And please make sure that you mark this box if the employee is a manager. All right, and then below you have your email address along with your email password. Remember, this is the email password, not the EverLogic password. Very important when you're adding your email here that you add your email password. Down below you have your phone numbers and your birth date. Now the birth date is available for us if you require support to assist you with the multi-factor authentication. And then your address below. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the User Information tab. And this is where you will assign the employee the user ID for them to log into EverLogic on a daily basis, along with a temporary password where you will need to add the password and confirm it. And the employee can then go over to their profile and change the password. On the right side, you will assign them a panel, and this is what gives them access to the panel on the left side. Down below the panel, you have the option to give the employee access to the dashboard and to assign a security level. Okay, we are currently using security level -1 or 0. These security levels are for access to scanned documents. So for instance, on most of our windows, we have the toolbar option for documents. This is where you will add or view your scanned documents. And this security level is what gives this employee permission to view low secured items. That would be a -1. Instead, if you would like the employee to have access to secured documents that may include personal identifiable information like your social security numbers, address, phone numbers, then you would assign a 0 here. I'd like to take just a moment to show you where these security levels will be found on your documents. From your Home tab, if I go to Documents, when you scan in items, you have your security level listed at the top. And as we mentioned, a -1 would be assigned to those documents that do not include sensitive information. A 0 security level would be included for those documents that do include personal identifiable information. And down below, there is a place for you to add a number of minutes. And this will determine when the employee will be automatically logged out of EverLogic due to inactivity. Down below, we have our permissions. Our permission buttons are listed to the right, and please notice they are all currently turned on. I know that because these buttons are now showing in blue. I will point out the items listed below. These are the different permissions. And you will remember we clicked on the Copy Permissions button when we created this new employee. So it automatically marked all of the permissions that the current employee had. So if you needed to come in and maybe remove a couple of these, if they needed to be different. Another way you can look at these permissions is by turning off one or more of the buttons that are listed above. So watch what happens down below in the display panel when I start clicking on the buttons above. So you'll notice they start changing, and now because the only button that is blue that's turned on is the Parts and Service button. Now you will only see those permissions for your parts and service employees. And then please allow me to point out the two buttons to the right. One is for access, the other is for authority. So you will notice the description of the permissions listed below. Some of them show access, the others show authority. So if I were to turn off the authority button, then it would only show me now access to parts and service, since those are the only two buttons that are showing in blue. All right, so once you have everything included in the employee profile that you've created, always make sure you click on Save. Again, if there are any required fields, you will receive a pop-up message reminding you to go back and complete those fields.